He has made everything beautiful in his time. And that, of course, is Ecclesiastes 3:11, one of my very favorite verses in the Bible, as someone who just really and truly appreciates the transition of the seasons and all the beauty that each one has to offer. And right now, I am really excited because it's starting to really feel like fall. The last couple weeks, we had some unseasonably warm temperatures in the mid-80s, so it was a little hard to go there. I was trying, don't get me wrong, I was still trying, but it definitely feels much more like the fall weather I would expect at this time of year. So I'm just embracing it. You know, I've got my cute little coffee mugs that I've been drinking out of, and I am pulling out the seasonal attire, so I am dressed for the occasion and I am ready to go. So I'm pretty excited. And today I wanted to share something, not necessarily a word, but I had already planned on sharing a poem that I had written a few years back, and it just so happened to be that a page that I saw had shared it as well. And you know, and that was really cool. You know, like whenever some page like picks up your stuff and shares it, I mean, that is a huge honor. And I was just like really blessed to see that, you know, especially other people sharing it and enjoying it. And I did share that this morning on my Facebook page, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to read it anyway in case somebody missed it or whatever. And then there's people on YouTube that wouldn't have seen that. So I wanted to read it anyway, because to me, it exemplifies the season through my eyes, you know. And I just thought I'd just also first start by explaining a little bit of what inspires me when it comes to poetry, because I don't think I've much talked about this, but a lot of my poetry, if you've ever seen it or heard me recite something that I've written in the past, a lot of it is very inspired by nature, by seasons, by those types of things. And it's not a coincidence. Like some people write like more philosophically or emotionally, and I do that as well. And sometimes I, you know, work that in, but I am very inspired in my poetry by nature and by the beauty of God's creation. And so that's where a lot of my poetry comes from. But I also find that most of the time I'm inspired to write because of something I'm witnessing at a particular moment. So it's not something that, you know, I just, you know, just sit in a room and it just comes to my head. A lot of times it will be my attempt to try to depict exactly what I'm seeing in any given moment, to try to capture the beauty of that moment through the use of the English language, which I have deep reverence for. And so this is an example of that when I wrote it, because it is actually called Late September, and it's something that I have witnessed, and anybody who lives in a state like that it enjoys four seasons would probably relate to as well. So here we go. Late September. In late September, so begins the transition. The fields turn to gold, orchards come to fruition. And now we all feast from the harvest that comes. We decorate porches with pumpkins and mums. But on rainy days, we watch from our window, wrapped all in flannels as blustery winds blow. What a glad thing indeed to have nowhere to be but curled up with a book and a cup of hot tea. Green turns to rust on the thinning tree branches, dying in glory, each falling leaf dances, and foliage burns as bonfires smolder. The scent fills the air that has surely grown colder. These days are short and will surely not last before hit with the sting of a strong winter blast. But do not despair, simply savor each day and embrace every season that's headed your way. And so again, I feel like this exemplifies this perfect time of year when all these things start to come about, you know, when you really start to enjoy the coziness of the season. And, you know, I went and got some mums a couple weeks ago that are blooming, and I have my porch decorated with pumpkins and mums, and those flowers are really starting to burst forth, and the pumpkins came from my very own garden. So that's even a new thing this year that was really exciting for me. If you didn't see the video I had posted recently where I had harvested the pumpkins, that was a first time occurrence for me. And that was a really fun addition to this season. So I plan to continue doing that. But all those different things that make up this season are, should be savored and should be appreciated, because it is so fleeting, because it does go by so fast. And I am very well aware of that. And then, as much as I love to, put a lot of my efforts into my home. I love decorating my home, and I enjoy creating this atmosphere in here and even outside of my home. It's also important to get out and enjoy the season in nature, and to go for those hikes and go to the markets and go to the cider mills and go on the hay rides, and just go to the art and craft fairs, and just really get out and enjoy it while the weather's nice like this and it's a little cool, and you get to bundle up in these cozy clothes, and sit out at those bonfires with your blankets and, your hot coffee or tea or whatever it is that you prefer. I like both myself, so I kind of enjoy a little bit of both. And to have those like seasonal treats, oh man, I've been making some amazing pumpkin bread and apple bread, and I'm planning to try to make like a keto version of caramel apples. We'll see how that turns out, because that's one of my specialties. I love making gourmet caramel apples. And of course, I love to read at this time of year. And so I just also wanted to quickly share a book that I cozy up with on a pretty regular basis. And that is this book, A Poem for Every Autumn Day. And I've shown other books from this series because I love these so much. And I finally finished my collection this year. And I have one for every season. And I love it because there is literally a poem in these for every single day of the year when you collect them all. And this one is for September, October, and November. Now, I admit I am not a person who is really good at reading something every single day. I don't like stick to it and read the one poem every day. But what I do is I pick this book up frequently, read a few poems, and just kind of contemplate them and kind of sit and meditate on these beautiful thoughts by these classic poets, and, just really kind of soak in that. So that's what I do. But, I kind of cheat a little bit. But if you love to have like a daily thing, even alongside if you are a person who does devotions every day or whatever, this would be a nice little addition to kind of expose yourself to just really put you in that seasonal mood. And the other thing I'm really excited about is I am finally going to read a book. I can't believe I haven't read this book, honestly, but this feels like the perfect fall read to me, and I am ready to read it because it is something I've had on my list for a long time. And that is The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. And this is a classic, and I have seen the Disney version, and it was one that I grew up with, and it just always had those cozy fall feelings. And I particularly love this leather-bound version that I picked up at Barnes & Noble's last year, and I just am really eager to read this because I think this will be a cozy read. I've always loved animal books, like, some of my favorites would be, Mrs. Brisby and the Rats of Nim, Watership Down, Animal Farm. I just really like books about animals for some reason, and this particularly feels like a cozy fall read. So I'm sure there are lots to pick from, but I just want to encourage you to just enjoy every minute of this season. I hope that you have, just an amazing time, as, like I said, this time is so fleeting that you just make the most of it. And I am just thankful for a God who is creative and does these incredible things that change and nothing stays the same, that it's new every day. His mercies are new every morning. And so I just wake up and I look out the window and say, how can I enjoy today? And I'm thankful that he has given us another day to enjoy. And so I hope you have a blessed, beautiful fall harvest season.